Alright, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go over the equipment that I have in this bag that I use to make the videos and give you 3 different price points that you can use to start a channel if you want to. Alright, here we have the 3 different camera setups that I would suggest anyone get when they're doing a YouTube channel. To begin with, we have a smartphone on a tripod. This is S10 Plus. Here is the GoPro. This is a Hero 6 Black. I wouldn't suggest getting this one. I would suggest getting the Hero 9 because it has a screen on the front that'll show you what you're shooting. Really anything from 5 Black up until the current models they have now would work great. I bought the 6 Black because that's what was new when I started. And this is the Sony ZV-E10. This is the new camera that I just got. On the top I have the wireless system, which is a Comica Boom XD. This is the first time I'm going to be using it. Right now I'm just using phone audio. Now I've had a YouTube channel for 4 years and I'm just getting on to 14,000 subscribers. It's a lot of work to be shooting video and working at the same time, especially if you want to have quality content with a lot of B-roll. If you just set up a camera and kind of an overview of what you're working on and not show the little details and insert that as B-roll over your video, it's not going to hold people's interest as long. Now having multiple cameras like this is going to allow me to get quality B-roll. The longer you can hold people's attention and make videos interesting really helps you to grow on the platform. This is something that I've struggled with a little bit because it's a lot easier just to keep working rather than readjust the cameras. But now that I have 3 different ways to capture video simultaneously, it really helps me to get good videos. Probably the number one thing that's going to cause people to think a video is low quality is audio trouble. If you're constantly moving around and getting away from your camera and they can't hear what you're saying, it's just going to make people click off of the video, which is why I've gotten this wireless system that you're hearing right now through the Sony ZV-E10. What has been a holdback is being able to find a good way to edit videos that isn't really expensive. Now lately I've been using Adobe Premiere Pro, but it is quite expensive and it's a monthly subscription, which isn't that ideal if you're not constantly shooting, because if I take a couple months in between videos, it's cost me like $100 for a program that I'm not even using. So I'm switching to using Final Cut Pro on a Mac, which is great because that's just a one-time payment, there's no subscription. But what I would really encourage people to use when they're starting out is Adobe Rush on your smartphone. If you have a Samsung phone, you can use Samsung DeX, plug that into your computer, and you can use your computer to edit video with Rush, even though it's just a mobile app, and that'll give you a big screen to work with. And you've got basic editing tools like filters and titles, animated text. You've got just the basics, and that's probably good enough for most people who are starting a channel. It's no secret that once you have a big enough channel, you do get paid from YouTube because of ad revenue. And it's actually substantial money that you get, which makes it a lot easier to invest money into better recording equipment. But at the beginning, before you have 1,000 subscribers and you're not really making money on the channel, you're just putting yourself out there to see if you can grow an audience. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using option number 1. Now here we have option number 1. This is my old phone, and I've put that on a very cheap tripod. They're very easy to find on Amazon, and this is all you need. One good thing about using a smartphone is you can edit with Rush, and you can also upload, interact with your comments and everything. This is an all-in-one tool for starting a YouTube channel. It's also the cheapest way to get into. You probably already have a smartphone with a great camera. So for under $100, you can buy a tripod, and you can also buy a wireless lav system. They're very easy to find that plug right into a phone with USB-C or Lightning, depending on what phone you're using. It might be $50 for one of those setups, and it's a great way to add audio that'll follow you around the room. If you're just doing talking head style of videos where there's not going to be any wind, go ahead, use the camera audio. Later on when your channel's growing and you're making ad revenue, go ahead, spend money on good quality audio. It's a great way to keep people's attention. The problem with this is that you're going to fill up your camera storage very quickly, especially if you don't have a phone with a built-in SD card slot with expandable storage. With Adobe Rush, you can do great quick edits, but if you really want to get in depth and do a lot of color correcting and stuff like that, smartphone isn't going to cut it. Another thing is, it's your phone. If it rings or if you get a message, those notifications are going to blare over the audio and it's going to interrupt your filming process. If you only have one camera, when you want to shoot B-roll, you're going to have to move it, shoot the B-roll, and then put the camera setup back up, and that's going to waste a lot of time. And you're going to end up not wanting to do that, and your video quality will suffer. Again, they're going to struggle in low lighting situation, or they're going to get a lot of noise when you try to brighten that video up. Another obvious thing is, if you break the phone, it's quite expensive. And for the phone I have now, which is a Note 20 Ultra, the cost of replacing the screen on this phone is literally more than buying a GoPro. But once you update, it's still going to make a great extra camera that you can use. The smartphone apps interact with GoPro, so you can take the footage from your GoPro, put it on your phone. If you're still editing and uploading on your phone, that's great. Now you have two cameras, two different angles, and you still have a great way of editing without spending much money. Here we have the GoPro on a Joby GorillaPod with a Rode Video Micro microphone. GoPros are a very affordable way of getting a 4K, or in the case of the newer ones, 5K video camera for $500. The GoPro Hero 9 is going for $430 on Amazon. They have great image stabilization, they're wearable, they're light, they're portable. The videos are great quality and it won't end up tying up your phone space. They also have a lot of great features, like being able to just press the record button even when the camera is off, and it will start shooting video right away. The problems with these is that the built-in microphone is complete garbage, especially when you have a case on it. If you want to add the Video Micro microphone, like I have here, you're going to have to buy this audio adapter. You can't just use a USB-C to auxiliary converter. You have to buy this $60 adapter from GoPro. They're usually pretty difficult to work around anything except their own products, and the products are quite pricey in order to try to force you to buying an annual subscription to GoPro, which will decrease the cost of accessories and try to force you to do everything through them. But this is what I've been doing the majority of my YouTube channel with, just this on a tripod. This microphone is a shotgun mic, so it's great. As long as you're in front of the camera and it's facing towards you, you'll get really good audio out of it. And this GorillaPod is great because you can wrap it around anything. So if I'm working inside the cab and I want to get a good shot, and I have got my good camera on a tripod, I can just take this thing, wrap it around anywhere, get it in the right angle, exactly what I want. Some of these GorillaPods have magnetic feet, so you can also use that. But it's really not a great tripod. If you want to get any height out of it, well, that's off the table. And also, it's really hard to get the camera sitting square because there's so much adjustment in these legs and they're so flexible that it's kind of a fight to try to get the camera square. But it's been a great tool for the YouTube channel. So now we're shooting on the GoPro with the Rode Video Micro microphone, and we're going to be talking about the Sony ZV-E10, which I believe is the next step up from GoPro. And up here I have the receiver for my wireless microphone system that plugs into the camera, and also this camera gives you the ability to monitor the audio while you're shooting. Sony has a great autofocus system, and it also has product showcase mode, which will allow you to put something close to the lens, and instead of focusing on your face, it will focus on the product, and then when you move it away, you can see your face again. So it's a great camera to show stuff to. It'll quickly autofocus, and then as soon as you move away, it tracks your face again. It also comes with a dead cat in case you're in windy situations. Now, if you want to talk about tripods, you can actually find pretty decent tripods on Amazon. This is a great tripod. It was only $30 on Amazon. The only downside to these cheaper tripods is that they don't have a ball head system. Instead they have this up here with a couple different axes that you can lock in. But if you are looking for something great, try to find a tripod that has a ball system instead of this. You're going to want something that goes fairly high. This is a 60-inch tripod, and then what I'm using here with the smartphone is a shorter tripod. This one's actually pretty crappy. I think it was like 20 bucks on Amazon. And read the reviews, because some are just pumped out cheap stuff, and other ones like this, which I'll have a link to, are actually quite sturdy. And for $30, absolutely get this one. It can actually go pretty low as well, so I wouldn't really need this. So I would suggest getting a tall tripod like this, a 60-inch, and also a Joby GorillaPod, so you can get unique angles, or if you have to squeeze a camera in somewhere and still hold it steady, the Joby works great. So those are my 3 different camera systems. Another thing you're going to have to keep in mind is that the cost of decent audio keeps going up with each set. So in the case of the smartphone, you can get one of those $50 wireless lav mics. You just clip on your shirt, and so you can get a decent setup going for about $100 on top of the cost of the smartphone. Now if you want to go to the GoPro, you're looking at closer to $200 by the time you buy the accessories that you need, the little audio converter so you can plug in the Rode Video Micro. So keep that in mind in your budget. It's not just $450 for the camera, you're probably looking at about $600 to $650 before you've got a good system going. And in the case of the Sony, it's a $900 camera, and then the Comica Boom XD that I'm using is an extra $300 on top of that. I went with the Comica instead of the Rode system, the Rode Wireless Go. It's a great system. It has more range than this, and it has a longer battery life on the receivers. But I really didn't need longer battery life or longer distance. This system works great in the shop. I can go to every corner facing away from the receiver, and everything still works great. The other thing is, you're looking at an awful lot more for the Rode system by the time you include the little lav mics. The Rode does not come with those, so you're looking at possibly about $400 just for the wireless audio system. And this is the backpack that I'm using. I'll put a link to it. It's absolutely fantastic, and I wouldn't recommend getting a camera bag, especially if you're gonna have multiple cameras with a lot of different accessories. Camera bags are pretty modular, but they're pretty specified, and they don't give you the flexibility that a backpack will. What I would suggest instead is getting a bag like this one, because I can have the Sony, the GoPro, I can have the Joby Pod in here, the wireless system, also a battery pack that I use that you can mount to the tripod and power your cameras for a long time or charge them while they're inside here. So once you've built a channel and you're making a little bit off of it, there's a lot of things that can be quality of life, not just having extra cameras, but for instance, a portable SSD that you can keep all your channel footage on, so you're not plugging up storage on a computer. An SSD with USB-C will be fast enough that you can edit video off of that portable drive. You can also take it everywhere you want if you find yourself editing on a laptop. Another thing that's kind of unique is a gimbal like this. This allows you to take really smooth footage by hand. It's not jittery. As you can see, if I move this around, unless you're really quick, the camera pretty much just stays in its own spot, and then you can use the joystick to turn it. And it'll take really smooth videos, especially when you combine that with the stabilization that's built into the camera. You can get perfect shots, and it also has a threaded bottom, so you can put that on a tripod if you want and have it sitting like that, and then quick grab it and take some nice B-roll that's very steady. Anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Even though this isn't my typical style of video, I thought it'd be interesting to go a little bit behind the scenes of what I have. There's a learning curve to everything, and also as you do your own thing, you'll learn what equipment works well with your style of doing stuff. This is what works for me. I think it's 3 really good price points to look at. Again, when you're starting out a channel, you can use a cell phone. Having good equipment isn't going to make you have good quality videos. It's a lot more about thinking things through, planning your videos, than it is about the equipment that you have. If someone knows how to use the camera good and they put in the work of moving the camera, getting those B-roll shots, and making sure their audio is always good, doesn't matter how good of a camera you have. Having a good camera isn't going to help you plan out a video better, or know where to have your camera, or having interesting content. Having good equipment is more of a luxury of having done it for a while and knowing what you need before you go out and buy it. If you just go and buy a whole bunch of equipment and then decide you're going to start the channel with that, maybe that'll work out great for you, but I would advise just building your audience first and making sure you have a good idea before you go out and spend a lot on equipment. Thanks for watching.